7th grade, I had you measure your shoe length to the nearest centimeter, and we recorded our data on the chalkboard. And this is what we have. We recorded it in a line plot. And we started with 23. And these were all centimeters. I asked you to measure it to the nearest centimeter. And you plotted it and made a line plot. So above 24, we have how many X's? Okay, do we have any 25s? How many 26s? Had 4 26s. How many 27s? And how many 28s? Any 29s? 30? 31? Okay, do I have any gaps? Let's kind of review a little bit. Where are my gaps? Okay, I have a gap between 28 and 31 as a gap. Okay, and my clusters kind of seem to be 26 and 27, and then maybe you consider 31 as well. All right, so this is my data. What we're going to do today is we are actually going to take this data and put it into a histogram. That's our focus today. So what is a histogram? Well, a histogram looks a lot like a bar graph. But the display of data comes from a frequency table in which you have intervals. An interval is a range of data that goes into that category. Now, this only works if you have numerical data. Like when you take a survey on somebody's eye color or somebody's hair color, that cannot be put into a histogram. But if I'm going around asking you what your allowance is, do you see that we might have too many different numbers to actually put into a graph, so that I have to arrange them into what I call categories. So if I want to make my intervals for my shoe lengths, I might say, okay, all those between 24 and 26, anywhere in that range, would be here, and then I'm going to do a category or an interval of 27 to 29. Now, count how many shoe lengths are in this category interval. 24 through 26. How many possible shoe lengths do I have there? 3. I could do a 24, 25, or 26. Okay, so my next category must include the same amount. A 27, 28, 29. Is that okay? What's my next one going to be? 32, 32. And the key to making a histogram is that your intervals must be the same. Make sure they're consistent. Now, unless you're told, how big to make your interval, it could be anything. So that's why a histogram is kind of depending on how you set it up. But I'm going to kind of guide you and get us started, and I did intervals of 3. So what do you think we're going to do next? Right, we're going to tally how much. Okay, how many did I have between 24 and 26? Let's go back and look. Okay, between 24 and 26, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to make 7 tally marks. And my frequency is 7. Okay, how many did I have in the 27 to 29? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 30 to 32 range. Looks like I have 4. Thumbs up if you're okay with that. Okay, so now that I've collected my data and I've put it into a frequency table, I could have just as easily left it in a line plot. But because I'm doing intervals, I must go ahead and then translate that information into a frequency table where I have intervals. Because now I'm going to make it into a histogram. Remember I said a histogram looks a lot like what? A bar graph. A bar graph. Okay, so down here at the bottom, I'm going to put my intervals. So the first thing is let's set up our histogram. Our intervals are 24 to 26. And I try to fit it all together, but it doesn't quite fit. Okay, now, do they have to be spaced apart? To me, it doesn't matter. Now, I know some teachers say, well, hey, they have to always be right next to each other. Not necessarily, but we're going to make ours that way, where they are right next to each other. Okay, then the next one was 27 through 29. Whoops. So I have a 27 through 29. And what was the last one? 30 to 32. Okay, then let's go look and see what our possible numbers are. We have a frequency anyway from 4 to 7. So I'm actually going to start at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you have to label these. So this would be frequency, or I can say students. And then what's my x-axis going to be? What's this one? Yes, shoe length in centimeters. Okay, so in the first interval, how many do I have? 7. So I'm going to make my histogram go all the way up to 7. It's just like a bar graph, except for I'm not just doing one piece of data, I'm doing a group of data. Okay, 27 through 29. 6. And 30 through 32. I have 4 pieces of data, 4 students. Okay, now sometimes I like to put how much they are above there, like a 7, 6. Did I say 4? I think I plotted that at 5, didn't I? Let's move that down 1. There we go. And that's a 4. And you can color those in if you want. And this is how you make a histogram. And you always need to put a title. What would our title be for this one? Shoe length. Okay. And these aren't really sizes, they're lengths, right? Because they're lengths in centimeters. Students' shoe lengths. So you've just completed a histogram. Now remember, what's different from a histogram and a bar graph? Okay, the data is arranged in an interval, okay, not just one category. You're arranging your data in intervals, and it's always numerical data. Now, the bad part is kind of like with the box and whisker plot. Looking at this, can I tell you how many exactly 24s I had? Or how many students had exactly 28 centimeters for their length? No, that's the only downfall. But it does allow you to get a variety, like if I were doing allowances, it would allow you to have everybody's input and not have just individual categories. Any questions on the histograms? All right, let's take a look at one more example. Check your intervals. Are they correct? What do you notice about each interval contains how many numbers? 3, because I do 16, 17, and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, and then I made this data up that I had 4 that were in this category, 5, 4, and 5. And then when you make this into a histogram, these are your age categories, which, what was the first one? 16 to 18. And the second one was 19 through, and then 22 through 24. and 25 through 27. Is that it? Okay, so the first category, it looks like I need to go all the way up to 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and you notice I have them labeled. So you really need 2 labels for each of your axes. And I have 4, 5, 4, and 5. And that's all there is to it. And I like to put like there's 4, 5, 4, and 5. And if you don't want to color them in, you could always just be creative in like doing the design to show the different categories. Any questions on histograms? Okay, that concludes our lesson today.